Greetings, duelists, and welcome to another video. So, I am back from YCS Columbus. As you can see here on the screen, this is from Neuron, right when the tournament on day 1 ended. It's not fully updated, but this 9th round is a win. I ended on a 6-3 record, losing on round 3, round 6, and round 8, which put me on 275th place. For those who are new to how YCSs work, they changed the tournament structure as of last year, and to make it to day 2, you have to be in the top 256, which means I was shy of not making it to day 2. If you see here carefully, people that made it in the day 2 had the same record as I did, so it was basically a toss-up between tiebreakers, which is a little unfortunate. So I will talk about my matches, how they went, but I know that most people are here for the list, see what I played, and see whether or not this was worth it for the event. Without further ado, let's begin. So, I played Elfnote for the event. You will see this is pretty similar to the list I played like previously. I felt very, very comfortable about this version of the deck. I think that not much needed to be changed, but some people might be new to the channel and are not familiar with my training process with the Elfnote deck, so I will talk about everything very briefly. Let's go and talk about the ratios. So 3 Lucina, 3 Tania, 2 Regina, 1 Fortuna, 1 Power Patron. These are my Elfnote names. I did not play Medius the Pure, I did not play the Terminus Engine, I did not play Junoldo for this event. For those who have seen my previous list, I did try out the Junoldo beforehand, and there are very specific reasons for that. I wanted my deck to be as optimized as possible against the Doom Z matchup and against Droll and Lockbird, because I felt like those two cards were going to be very, very popular for this event. And spoiler alerts, they were. And I felt like it really worked out. A lot of people are giving a bad misconception on Elfnote, saying that Droll really hurts the deck. I think there is some truth to it, but if you look at this lineup entirely right here, the only cards that play into Droll are Lucina and the Power Patron. Everything else does not play into the Droll and Lockbird. So I kind of felt like we needed another engine that just played well with the Elfnotes, but didn't play into those cards very heavily. And people already know this, but for those who are new to the channel, again, we played the Cool Tune cards. So 3 Mix, 3 Reco, 3 Q, 3 Rotary, 1 Clip, and those are the Cool Tune names. In my last build, I was playing 1 Rotary and 1 Q. Shoutouts to Nesh, TCG, our world champion of Master Duel of last year. I did take a little bit of coaching with him, and he convinced me on playing the 3Q. Because he did play and pilot this deck on Master Duel. Which is a little bit different because there are some cards over there that we do not have, or vice versa. So the reason for the Cool Tune cards is this engine is actually not that bad going second. This engine is not that bad into Droll and Lockbird. There are some neat synergies that you can do with both the Elf cards and the Cool Tune cards. Both engines together can push through almost any board. And I gotta say this right now, I lost 6 die rolls in the YCS. And out of those 6 die rolls, only 2 of them mattered. Yeah, I really felt comfortable with this lineup. I don't think I needed anything else. Rotary was insane, and not just because of her contribution in the Cool Tune deck is because she was another engine push with my Elfnote cards. And we'll talk more about that when we get to extra deck. So, for non-engine, we played 2 Drolls, 3 Ash, 3 Harmonia, and the last card was triple Tactic Talents. So you're probably wondering, why so many low hand traps? Why the low hand trap count? The main reason for it is what I said earlier. I felt like the deck's engine was already good enough to play through boards. I didn't feel like I needed anything else. And these cards were good enough for me. I'll talk about the specific reasons. So I picked Droll specifically because against the more roguish decks, this card has a really strong edge. If you looked at the top 8 from YCS Columbus, half of the decks that made it in top 8, they all fold really hard to Droll and Lockbird. The reason for Talents is I felt like Talents was a really, really good engine push. The card was just very versatile in all directions. If I needed more cards, this card was really good for that. If I didn't get to see their hand with Rotary still, and I needed to find another way to just safely play around hand traps, this was also there for that. And if you're going second and you're trying to contest the board with half your engine, the Talents is also really good for that as well. Talent was phenomenal this past weekend. I do not regret playing this card in the main deck, and most likely it will still be that way for future lists to come. So let's talk about Harmonia. Harmonia wasn't a bad card. It wasn't an amazing card either. I will say Harmonia did clutch my round 4 matchup. And again, this is just another engine push. The reason I really like Harmonia in this deck is because as a top deck, this card is also really good. Like, I wanted as many good cards if I draw as my 6th card as possible. And the only really awkward one is draw Lockbird. Like, Ash and Harmonia are perfectly fine if I draw it as a 6th card, especially in the context of the Cool Tune matchup. Ash as a defensive card is not really super strong, but the main reason Ash is here is because it is a level 3 tuner, which means it synergizes well with my Cool Tune monsters. And the other reason is it's also a Fua loss like contribution. Other hand traps I considered for the main were Ghost Ogre and Ghost Bell. I felt like those 2 cards were just not the right fit for me in comparison to all these other 9 cards. And that was the main reason for this specific non-engine. And now we go with the rest of the cards. 3 KTS, 1 Genesis, 1 Overtake, 1 JJ, and the 2 Elfnote spell and traps. I felt these cards were fine. Like, shoutouts to Nesh again. He convinced me to play Genesis. I was not gonna play Duelist Genesis at first, but because I really wanted my deck to be optimized for Droll. And fun fact, I almost never got Drolled at the event, so the Genesis was really good throughout my rounds. I actually did clutch 2 rounds specifically because of Duelist Genesis. This card was really good in the deck. I think all these cards were perfectly fine as was. I ran out of KTS like a while, like for a little bit. This card is definitely the best card in the deck. I feel like if anything needs to happen to Cool Tune in a future ban list, this card should be into consideration. A lot of people are saying Rotary is the card that breaks the deck, and I wholeheartedly agree that Rotary is like one of the strongest cards that make Kultun be over the edge. But if you want Kultun to be really down in the power level, KTS is legit the card that kind of saves it for me. So that's for the main deck. It is exactly 40 cards. Now let's go with the extra. So 2 track makers, 1 remix, 1 RS, 1 loudness war, 1 Zalin, and 1 B2B. So these are for the Kultun synchros. Yes, Zalin is a Kultun, like by heart, not by name, but so in the past we were not playing 2 track makers. I got convinced to play a second one, and honestly, I'm very, very glad I did. Not only because it came up once or twice, it's because there are some weird Elfnote lines where you need to go through the second track maker in order to make any Elfnote card like a full Elfnote rotation on par with your Kultun cards. So yeah, I will showcase you that combo in the future. Like, I definitely like this lineup. I think this lineup was perfectly fine. Clip banishing any of these cards did not come up for me. I did get Ghost Reapered on RS, which was kind of annoying. There was one game I also got Reapered into Trackmaker, but it never mattered. Like, I already had my Kultun engine into rotation and my Elfnote cards as well. So we got Malong and Pegasus as my Harmonia targets. We got Strelitzia and Asian Fairy Dragon. Asian Fairy Dragon is for the side deck. We got the Axel Stardust, and we got Omega, and we got Crystal Wing as our Synchro 8s. And the last card in my extra deck, which I don't think I ever summoned this weekend. I actually did summon it this weekend once against Branded, and it did win me the match. Changin. Can you guess which was my MVP of the extra deck? I'll give you 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. My MVP of the extra deck was when Pegasus added Nestor. I actually hard summoned this card 5 times, and out of the 5 times I summoned it, it won me 4 games. This card is really good when you're going second. It makes it so your Elf plus a Rotary is like a really strong bait against your opponent's back row. If your opponent does not do anything about this card just applies a lot of pressure. Half of the time they will just let it resolve, not interact with it, and then I just synchro it away for Crystal Wing, and now they have to deal with Crystal Wing, plus they have to deal with the Wind Pegasus in my graveyard in case they do something about the Crystal Wing. Obviously I have sent this with Harmonia once or twice, but me summoning it going second was incredible. I know that a lot of Elfnote lists are playing Black Rose Dragon. I never felt like I needed Black Rose Dragon. This card was just as good as Black Rose for me, with the added utility as a monster for Harmonia. One card that was really weak for me was Malong. Malong, the Cloud Beast, was not that good for me. There were so many awkward board states with Harmonia where I kind of wanted this to be Pack Pit. So in the future, I will change this to Enigmaster Pack Pit. Everything else in my extra deck was perfect. I wouldn't change anything else. Side deck. So we got Magnamut, we got Double Bell, Double Ogre. I played 3 Fualos and 1 Parolia. I played 3 Book of Eclipse, Feather Duster, Call by the Grave, and my floodgate of choice was Secret Village. Shoutouts to Minsu Park from Goo Gaming. I will post their Elfnote profile in the description. Half of their side deck was almost the same as mine. They opted to play Solemns instead of like Secret Village, and they were already maining Fualas. Outside of that, I think our extra deck was almost the same. They played Lightning Storm as well as Duster. So I found it very interesting that we arrived almost at the same conclusion with the side deck. They were maining Ghost Bells while we were siding it, but they did side Ghost Ogre. Yeah, that is the list. So, what do you think my matches were? So, round 1 I faced against Cooltoon. So it was sort of like the mirror match, right? In game 3, they looked at my top deck with Q 2 times, and both times they saw my top decks, they immediately just wanted to pivot away my cards because they were really good top decks. And that gave me a really big advantage because it meant that every single draw in the next 2 turns was an unknown card, and they could not play around the unknown card, and the unknown card actually was enough for me to play through their disruptions. Round 2 was against Clown Mitsurugi, and that was a really tough one. On game 3, they Lava Golemed half my board, they Super Poly'd the other half of my board, and they resolved Biancaviso, drawing 2, and they set 2, and they went through half their Mitsurugi setup. Thankfully, we did clutch it at the very end, and we OTK'd, and one of the cards that got me there was the Triple Tactic Talents, stealing their Biancaviso. So round 3 was another Cooltoon, and on game 3, they opened Gamma, Harmonia, Magnamut, Ghost Reaper, and Winter Cherries, which they did to banish my RS, and Q, Cooltoon Q, and their top deck was KTS. That was not a very winnable game. It was really tough to play around those 4 hand traps, especially Gamma and Magnamut. Round 4 was against Doom Z, and I'm going to say this right now, that Doom Z matchup was one of my most funnest games I've ever had this entire year of 2026. I lost the die roll against the Doom Z player, and they made almost their full board. I used Harmonia in my turn to bait the Regulus. That way they lost out on the Regulus negate. And in my turn, it made it a little bit safer for me to navigate through their board and their interactions. On game 3, because we did get to game 3, they dimension shifted me, and they ended on Drastria, and Book of Eclipse came through to the end, just setting their Drastia and me combating their board. Shoutouts to Nesh again. They showed me how to OTK through Shifter with the Cooltoon cards. Round 5 was against Lunalight, and my Lunalight opponent impulsed and sparked me on my interactions, so I ended on a half-weak board. But I did see their hand with Cooltoon Rotary, and they had heavy polymerization in the main deck. So I tried my very best to play around that heavy polymerization, and they tried to combat our board, and they couldn't combat against our board properly because one of the cards that was on my board was B2B, which means they couldn't make Baguska or Tiger King. After that game, I kind of told them the Tiger King was pointless because they were under this lock of Dominant Spark. I think the match ended on a 2-0. His second hand was not that great. I think he did end it like on a Liger, and I did fight through the Liger. One card that really helps there is Elfnote's Welcome Home. For those who don't know, Elfnote's Welcome Home has the first effect of monsters in the middle column to not be destroyed by card effects, which means whatever whatever special summon we make on that zone cannot be popped by Liger's effect. Which made it very easy to navigate because it meant getting to Crystal with Synchro Dragon with the destruction protection to play to fight against the Liger. Also, Silverhound cannot negate Welcome Home because you're placing it on the board with Tinia's effect. That interaction came up a bunch of times. So we won that one against Lunalight. Round 6 was against Magnet Warriors, and that is another Yugi tuber. Her name is Danasaur. I will post her channel in the description. So we lost game 1 because she was playing Imperial Magnum in their deck, and I had to deal with the full Magnet board. She also was playing Super Polymerization, which was a really strong card that gave her the edge in the matchup. Game 2, we kind of fought through her non-engine properly. Game 3, she ended on the IP Illusion Plasma Nabi setup, but the problem was not the board. Well, when I say the board, I mean the monsters. The problem was never the monsters. The problem was she had Solemn Warning and Solemn Judgment both set in her back row, and I couldn't fight against both Solemns. I did not draw like the proper removal. If you saw my main and my side deck, I did not play that many removal cards. In hindsight, playing those removal cards would have been very helpful. One card that I kind of missed in that matchup was Nibiru, because she did not play the Fiendsmith engine, and getting to the Imperial Magnum takes a lot of setup. So Nibiru would have been really, really helpful in that matchup. It also would have fleshed it out. I did open Harmonia, and Harmonia felt very awkward into the deck because I wanted to get rid of Naturia Beast, but at the same time, I needed to make sure that they were not like setting up too much with what they were going on. And a lot of their magnet monsters are just very resilient. So it's really, really tough to just play around like their interactions into building a board with the Harmonia. It's also really hard to break the board with the Harmonia, especially because of the double Solemn. So I lost that round. Round 7 was against Branded. Shoutouts to Elliot, Lugo, and Jack, and like his friends. Like that was a very hyped match. My brand opponent was very nice. One card that clutched it out was Book of Eclipse. Book of Eclipse is really strong against the Branded matchup. But the other thing that won me the match as well was Secret Village of the Spellcasters. Secret Village is a really, really strong card, and it's one of the reasons that I feel like Elfnote is a really strong contender. Like, if you look if you look at the top 8, like you got Archmage, you got Sky Striker, you got Mitsurugi. They all made it in the top 8. They all lose to Secret Village. Archmage has like only one out, and that is summoning Litera, which I think is a one-off in that version. But yeah, I clutched it out at the end with that one. And then in round 8, I played against Sky Striker. I lost the die rolls against them, and I kinda opened a very awkward hand both game 1 and game 3. Like game 1, I opened like a bunch of redundant elf names, and I did open Regina, but Regina summoning on my opponent's turn is not that strong because they're gonna set 5 or set 4. Like the at most you can do is like summon Fortuna and Fortuna to bounce like one of their spell and traps. But the problem here is then what? Like the Fortuna just places a trap card. It doesn't place a setup or actual correct setup for us. And we didn't open that many Cool Toon monsters either. Like it was a really tough match. My Sky Striker opponent opened really well all 3 games as well, which is another really scary thought. But yeah, my last round was against Cool Toon, and we did win it at the end. My opponent was not very happy, but yeah, that was my tournament report. At the very end, I'm gonna say that I was very happy with my results. I was very happy with the deck. Outside of the Malong in the extra deck, I felt like the deck was perfectly fine. I might try to fit in more back row removal in the future just so I could deal with the Solemn cards better. But you can make the argument that post side, they're just gonna play Accusation, which is another Solemn card that just deal with those. Or, you know, Solemns that are not named the Accusation are just rare Solemns to begin with. But yeah, that's pretty much it from me. I hope you found this informative to your liking and understanding. One last shout out again, like shout out to all my friends that were rooting and cheering for me on. Shout out to all the people I met at the event. I will make another video talking about my YCS experience. And once again, thank you Nesh for coaching and the Cool Toon Masterclass. I did take the masterclass just because I was curious. I just wanted to see if it was actually worth it. And I can tell you this right now, there's a lot of things about Cool Toon that I would not have known or would not have been prepared for if it wasn't for the masterclass. So yeah, that'll be it. Keep practicing and keep dueling.